Welcome to Cliff Notes Podcast where we show where passion meets the game. And let's start out with a trivia. No brains, no games. Here's the question. We'll answer it at the end of the show. Which is the most frequently stole base in baseball? Which is the most frequently stole base in baseball? Let's talk NFL playoffs. The playoff field is set. And before I get started, let's take a look and see who number one seed is the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs has earned that right. So the game that we're going to be interested in is the Texans versus the Chargers. D'Amico Ryans takes his troops against the San Diego Chargers. My early prediction is the following. The Houston Texans getting their act together. I know they played the Titans yesterday. That's not anything to brag about. But they won against the Titans yesterday. Looks like that they've got their ship corrected. And I believe that D'Amico Ryans will go and beat that team of the Chargers by Harbaugh. Harbaugh had a good season. Justin Herbert has shown that he's a pretty good quarterback. And I believe that they will survive. The Texans will beat the Chargers. The next game, the Ravens versus the Steelers. Mike Tomlin has been struggling with his team, but I don't think all hope is lost. I believe they will give the Ravens all they can handle. But Derrick Henry, they will feed Derrick Henry a lot for the Ravens. I have the Ravens winning that game. The early line saying is 9.5 for Baltimore. I'm not sure if it's going to be that bad. I'm thinking Baltimore by 3. The Bills versus the Broncos. Got Buffalo at -9 already. Let's talk about Broncos. I'm a believer in Bo Nix now. I didn't believe he could get it done. Now, I do not believe he's the offensive MVP, Rookie of the Year. That's got to be Jaden Daniels, but we'll talk about Jaden Daniels here shortly. He could not be the offensive MVP, but the kid had a really good year for Sean Payton out there in Denver. They're going to play the Buffalo Bills. That is going to be a true test. Now, I've heard some of the so-called professionals say that they look for the Buffalo Bills to successfully win, and then I've heard some say the Denver Broncos had a chance. I'm in the latter. I don't think Denver has a chance. I believe that this game is probably going to be over in the third quarter. NFC last night, we had the fight for the number 1 seed. It was the Vikings. Did they play? They were out there. The defense played very well the first half, but unfortunately, I don't know how the Lions are winning. They've got a guy from Home Depot playing safety out there right now. They've got so many injuries, but yet they're still winning. They looked dominant last night. They actually looked dominant, and they still lost a couple starters to injury. I can't figure it out. The Lions look like a team of destiny, and they've got that bye, and that set the Minnesota Vikings on the road. Speaking of that, so the Vikings will go play the Los Angeles Rams. Can Sam Darnold win a playoff game? He's had a great year for the Vikings, but can he win the playoff game? He's going on the road to Los Angeles Rams, going to take on Matthew Stafford, the Super Bowl champion. I think Matthew Stafford will be ready. It would not surprise me if the Rams were to beat the Minnesota Vikings. Right now, the early number is Minnesota -2. Okay, I'll confess, I will go with the -2 and take the Vikings right now. That's how I'm feeling today. I think the Vikings will beat the Rams. The Buccaneers and Commanders. Now, this game is going to be very, very good. Right now, the early money is going favoring Tampa Bay -3. But I like Jaden Daniels. He's had a phenomenal year. 12 wins for the Washington Commanders. This game, home field, Tampa Bay. Had they been in Washington, I would have definitely picked the Commanders. But I think Baker Mayfield, he's had a phenomenal year along with Mike Evans. They've got a strong running game with Bucky Irvin. I believe that home field advantage will play a part, but I also believe that Jay Daniels is a tough out. I look for an upset. I look for Jay Daniels, the rookie, to go through and get a win. The last game, wild card game, will be the Eagles versus the Packers. The Packers look like Jordan Love hurt his hand yesterday. I'm not sure about the severity of that. And also, Watson had a knee injury. I believe that the Eagles, they're -5 currently. I believe that the Eagles will beat the Packers. I don't think the Packers will have enough to make it past the Eagles. I just think the Eagles are going to rely heavily on that running game with Saquon Barkley. I believe A.J. Brown has gotten his mind right, and he's not going to be angry if he doesn't get the ball. And Devontae Smith, I believe that Devontae Smith, the Slim Reaper, will have a really good ball game also. Now, the only X factor I will tell you, I think that the Eagles coach sometimes is an idiot, so he may play them out of contention. So hopefully he will not do that. Nick Sirianni, please coach the team and don't be howling at fans and all the other crazy stuff that you've done this year. And I think that the teams will serve themselves well, and your team could advance. That's my take on the NFL playoffs. One thing before we go from the NFL, Tyreek Hill did not play in the fourth quarter. He sat out. He says he's done in Miami. Where does Tyreek Hill go? Does he try to go back to Kansas City, where he came from? Is he going to click his heels 3 times and say, I wish I was back in Kansas City. I wish I was back in Kansas City with Pat Mahomes? I don't know. That is possible, but Tyreek Hill, I don't know, man. That's going to be hard to get away from Miami. For them to just say, all right, you got your $100 million, you can go on and do something else. College football playoffs. The college football playoffs are now down to the Final Four. Let's talk 12-team playoffs for a minute. Some of those teams had no business being in the playoffs. Indiana, oh my gosh, it looked horrible. Boise State, one-trick pony, rushing the football. You're not going to win, but you had a great year. Tennessee calls themselves. They're going to run up to Ohio State and beat them. They had all those fans there, but I think the Ohio economy appreciates those fans coming up there, contributing money, and they were able to go back home, back to Knoxville with a loss. Let's talk about who I think is going to win the Penn State-Notre Dame game. Now, this matches up two really good coaches. James Franklin, he is a very, very good coach, and I believe he's going to be schemed right. I think he's going to run heavy. I think they're going to run heavy. But Notre Dame on the other side, they are going to really be a tough out because their defense has been playing very, very good. This game is going to probably go down to the last possession. I'm thinking the last possession because Notre Dame is very, very well coached. Now, the New Orleans tragedy of Bourbon Street kind of threw everything off by a day. So Notre Dame is going to be a day less rested than Penn State. But I think that won't hurt them. I believe that that may push Notre Dame just a little bit further on down the road and give them the win. The Texas versus Ohio State. Ohio State fans, let me share this with you. Ryan Day, I know you want to fire him because he keeps losing to Michigan, but man, this guy right now looks like he's got the best team in football, and it'll be a shame if you fire him because I'm still hearing rumblings that they want him gone. I don't know about that. If he wins the national championship, do you still want to fire him because he can't beat Michigan? Michigan, national championship. You tell me which one is more important. I don't know. I kind of like winning championships. So Texas, I think Texas defense is very good. Quentin Ewers, people for some strange reason don't want him out there, and they want Manning. Arch Manning, bring on Arch. I just don't understand why that is. But Ewers went to the Final Four last year. So he's back again this year. I think Steve Sarkisian is going to trust years to get him where the team needs to be. And if that's the case, I believe that Texas will surprise Ohio State, put up a very good fight, but I think Ohio State may pull it off at the end. That's my thoughts on the college football playoffs. And right now, I'm hearing a lot of rumblings about NIL and bowls and why these guys are leaving and they shouldn't leave. Let's talk about NIL for a minute. The name and likeness and the transfer portal. For years and years and years, a coach could say, I have decided to leave my institution because I've got an opportunity to go over to this other institution and they're going to pay me a couple $1 million a year. So everyone's okay with that. Coach goes, they'll leave and everything's fine. Just want to talk briefly about NIL. It's not about loyalty, not about playing bowl games. It's all about money, and some of these athletes need to help their families. I want to give you a story about a wide receiver from Alabama, last name of Prothro. And I also want to talk about Lane Kiffin when he was the OC at Alabama. He left to take the Ole Miss job just before the BCS Bowl game. These two have parallels because Lane Kiffin is an example of what the coaches have done always. They've put themselves ahead of everybody, and their pockets was fat, and their family pockets were good to go. They went on about their business. Talk about the wide receiver from Alabama, Prothro. He suffered a season-ending injury and ultimately a career-ending injury against the Florida Gators on the 1st of October of 2005. A game that actually Alabama was winning really big, and since Prothro was their star receiver, he should have been on the sideline. But apparently the coaching staff saw fit to leave him out there. And they left him out there. And Prothro was probably best known for catching the ball. I think it was against Southern Miss. The defender went up to defend him. He caught the ball on the defender's back, fell in the end zone, scored a touchdown. It was outstanding, one of the best plays I've ever seen in my life. Back to his last day of football. Prothro came down on the turf against Florida Gators. He was going against D. Webb and attempting to break up the pass. When Prothro landed, he snapped his leg in half. And this was a severe injury. Prothro broke his tibia and fibula. And he never played football again. Prothro had 11 extensive surgeries, and basically his career was over. And on August 3rd in 2007, he was placed on a medical hardship scholarship and taken off the football roster when the coach of Alabama, the new coach, Nick Saban, said there was no way Prothro would play again. Prothro did not have NIL. He did not have that. This young man was hurt. Let's talk money for a second. ESPN signs a $3 billion with a B dollar deal to get the SEC football from CBS. CBS at the time was paying $300 million. So let's think about this. Prothro played for Alabama. We've got billions and millions of dollars being given out at the institutional level before NIL. These players finally get a chance to go out and make some money, and now all I'm hearing is whining and complaining. We got to stop this. Prothro never got his money. Never got it. He should have. He was the number one. He was wide receiver 1 at Alabama, and he did not get his money. So he's got to get his money. We've got to leave these kids alone. I don't care if they move teams 18 times, because we don't want to see the next Prothro out there with 11 surgeries and working menial jobs because he can't get his money that he should have gotten while he was at college, making the University of Alabama all that money and the SEC all that money, because $3 billion is a lot of money, and Prothro don't have any of those $3 billion. That's the good, bad, and ugly of NIL. Let's talk about the NBA. Right now, as we look at the NBA, across the NBA, there are several teams that are doing quite well. The usual suspects, the Boston Celtics, have jumped out to a huge run out in the East. also a surprise, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have also come along very nicely. I appreciate Donovan Mitchell and the way he's been playing. We thought that Miami would be competitive, but apparently Jimmy Butler says, I'm done, and now he's suspended. I don't think Pat Riley is handling that situation with Jimmy Butler professionally, banning him right now. I say, hey, at some point, just move on from Butler. You're not going to give him an extension on his contract. I think it's only right. They've got a lot of miles out of Jimmy Butler, and it may be time for them to move on from Jimmy Butler because he's done some things for them, a lot for him, and just let him go wherever he wants to go, especially if you're not going to get him in a contract extension. Why hold on to him? Back to what we were saying about the NBA Eastern Conference. Right now, surprise leaders are the Cleveland Cavaliers at 31-4. The Boston Celtics, who I thought would run away with the East, is at 26-10. They're 5.5 games back of Cleveland. I believe Donovan Mitchell name probably needs to be added to that MVP list early. I know Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA out of Oklahoma City should be mentioned, and of course Jason Tatum. As I look at the Eastern Conference from top to bottom, Cleveland leads, Boston Celtics are in second, the New York Knickerbockers, Big Cat. I'm going to put Big Cat name in an MVP right now. He is having a phenomenal year, playing some really good basketball for the Knickerbockers. Orlando Magic are in fourth, and the Bucks, who are in fifth. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis actually leading the NBA in scoring at 32 points a game. He is having a serious year. And let's look at the 11th place team right now, 4-19. We got to trust the process of the Philadelphia 76ers. This process is getting ready to go belly up. You got to make the playoffs. You got to make the play-in. I mean, right now they're a game and a half out of the 10th spot. And I know it's a lot of season left. So I'm not gonna really get on Embiid and the Sixers right now. I believe they can make a turn. I'm gonna turn to the Western Conference. Right now, the Oklahoma City Thunder is leading by 7 games over the second place Houston Rockets. Wow, I'm gonna tell you something. Ime Udoka, that Houston team looks really good. Boston, I know they had a problem with him. Of course, his wife, Nia Long, had a problem with him, but that guy can coach some basketball. Woo! That guy can coach. Second place, Houston, 23-12. Outstanding year so far. They're off and running. John Morant, if he stay out of trouble, they're in third place. The Memphis Grizzlies. I tell you, if Ja and Desmond Bane, that's probably one of the best backcourts in the NBA. Young, athletic. Those guys can really shoot that rock. And at fourth place, Jokic. Jokic is averaging 30 a game. And I know the second leading scorer, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, is averaging 31 right now. Joker is doing this without his Batman, Murray. I don't know where Murray is right now. He's just kind of floating around doing his thing. Has anybody seen Murray? I'm looking for him. How about Porter? Anybody seen Michael Porter Jr.? I haven't seen him. I have not seen him. So until they get that done, then and only then will the Denver Nuggets, who promised us, I believe when they won their first championship, they said it's going to be many more to come. That was just one. So I'm waiting on them to come back. And Jamal Murray, anybody seen Jamal Murray? I'm looking for Jamal Murray. If Jamal Murray shows up, please tell him to contact Clip Notes because we're trying to find him to make sure he shows up. And the last note on the NBA is that often injured LA Clippers star, I'm not going to say his name because he might get injured again. So we're going to leave his name out of the broadcast today. But their star is back. His initials are KL. Kawhi Leonard. Hopefully he won't get injured. And he'll play a back-to-back once or twice and give his team a chance. They're in 7th place. And, man, Kawhi can really, really, really help those guys right now. I know the Paul George experiment did not work with them. That's just the way it goes. And hopefully he'll stay healthy and have a strong season. Let's talk Formula One. Old faces in new places. Big names that were out. Red Bull replaced Sergio Perez with Liam Lawson. Sergio had a pretty solid season. I know he had a lot of mistakes this year when he had some DNFs on the track. But all in all, I thought that his car was in, was it the same as Max Verstappen? They say, yeah, it's the same team, same car. I kind of don't think so. That's just how I kind of look at it. I think Perez had a couple strong races. Well, for them, they give his seat up to Liam Lawson. I just don't agree with that. I think Perez should have been given another a year with Red Bull. I think that he really, really is a strong driver. I just had some bad luck a lot of times. So that is it with that Red Bull team. I'm not really sold on that seat change out with Liam Lawson. Carlos Sainz is out of Ferrari, replaced by the great Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton now will drive the Ferrari alongside team member Charles Leclerc. And that is going to be an awesome team.
I expect it to be massively different, yeah. I mean, the two teams I've been with have been British teams. So I'm going into a completely different culture in Italy. If you think about, like, us Brits, we're very quiet, more calm. When you have success, when you have difficult days, everyone's kind of more chilled out, is where Italians are much more emotional. It's a much, much different culture. And I mean, I don't truly know what to expect, but I have raced in Italy. So yeah, I expect it to be a huge amount different, but special and unique in its own way.
I believe the GOAT, Lewis Hamilton, will have a strong, strong season. The Ferrari cars have been outstanding, especially in 24. I think they were in more races than they were out of. And just a glitch here, a bad pit stop here or there would cost Ferrari. I also believe that just a couple tweaks, they can change and make a serious run at getting the team trophy from McLaren. With the technology that they have, with the great factory back in Italy, Ferrari is going to make a stand this year. I'm going to go on the record right now and say they will be definitely in the top two at the end of the F1 year when it comes down to the team championships. Briefly talking about the champion team right now, the McLaren, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. They're pretty solid. They're going to have a solid year again. They're going to be a tough out. Team Mercedes will roll out this year with the lead being George Russell. George Russell will take charge of the team now since Lewis has left. And the new person that is going to take Lewis's place is, I don't want to miss his name, Andrea Antonelli. I believe that's how we say his name. He's going to take over for Team Mercedes. He looks like he's about 12 years old. So he's going to would be welcomed down to that seat. The Williams Mercedes have welcomed Alex Albon. He got a 4-year contract, and Carlos Sainz comes over from Ferrari to join him at Williams. Just a couple quick things real quick on F1 before I leave this segment. Logan Sargent, the only American driver, lost his seat. He finished, I believe he was ranked 20th out of 20 drivers. So, man, I hate that we don't have an American right now driving. But when you finish 20th out of 20, you good and terrible. Valtteri Bottas, he's going to probably be a reserve driver for Mercedes. That's what they're saying in 25. He drove for Mercedes before he lost his seat to George Russell. So he's going to probably be back as a reserve driver. Daniel Ricciardo is done. Joe Granyu also is done. And Kevin Magnussen has parted ways with Haas Motors. We got a lot of shakeups for F1. Next month is going to be a really good season starting out. Long season, February to November. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great, great, great time. Got a lot of new kids out there, a lot of old veterans. I didn't talk about the champion. I know Max Verstappen. He's all right. He's a good driver. He's just too damn aggressive. Just too aggressive. Come on, Max. Cut it out there. Good and terrible.
That boy is good.
Good and terrible.
Good and terrible, folks. It's that time for good and terrible. And I'm going to go back to F1 as I look at the stats. Logan Sargent. Logan Sargent finished 20th this past season, and the season before, 20th. So that makes you good and terrible. Logan Sargent. I know that they've announced that the American team is going to be coming along here shortly. I believe they said it was Cadillac, I believe. I'm not sure of who has the new F1 team for the upcoming. I believe it's in 27 is when they're going to launch a new team. Now it's time for our player of the week. I want to have a coach name also. Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Man, he called a magnificent game. If I could give him the coach of the week, I'm going to do that. His coaching was just outstanding. I thought he coached a very, very, very good game. Well, I'm going to say games with the S because his playoff run has just been outstanding. Outstanding. But if I would have to look at my player of the week, this guy is not in the football playoffs, but man, this guy had just an awesome week. It is Jamar Chase. He's led the NFL this season in almost every category of receiving.
Very great team when we had great play calling. You know, receivers did an outstanding job on assignments today, I want to say. O-line did great up front, getting Joe Tom to throw the ball today. You know, we look good right there.
Jamar Chase, you are my player of the week. Enjoy your Pro Bowl, my friend, and also your All-Pro. I haven't seen the All-Pro list come out yet. I think it's out this week, but he should definitely be an All-Pro. Congratulations in advance to Jamar Chase, our player of the week. Now it's time for our Creek. Parker Jones of the University of Georgia. Parker Jones. Parker, get your ass off the field. If you ain't playing, get behind that white. What are you doing running to the referee? What? You good and terrible. And guess what? You up Shit's Creek with Kirby Smart. Folks, you've heard my predictions for this week. Let's go back to our trivia question. Our trivia question was, which is the most frequently stole base in baseball? And according to the baseball facts, that most frequently stole base is second base. Second base. That is the most frequently stolen base. Folks, I want to thank you very much for deciding to tune in to not the expert, but get a clip note of what to take forward in this sports world from a sports fan. And if you want to be a part of this broadcast, please like and subscribe to this channel. Put your comments in. Discussions. What do you want to talk about? We'll talk about it all. You just let me know and we'll get it on the show. Let me know and we'll get it on the show. And guess what? I got to go. Let me know. Get it on the show. I got to go. Until next time, folks, keep your head up. Watch out. May all your teams win and may you be successful. From the Clip Notes Studio, we'll see you next time. Peace. Hang in there.